Hey guys, what's up? It is week 63. I don't have that many reviews this time around, but I have some other things I want to talk about. First and foremost, the audio version of the podcast is now available on Stitcher. So if you have that, it's a nice app. I use it myself. Well, I just downloaded it to check it out, and I think it works better than the Podbean app, and not as good as iTunes, but I no longer have an iTunes product to use it on. So yeah, if you don't, check it out on Stitcher. If you don't already listen to the audio version over the video version or whatnot. And I also want to talk about I got a chance to watch some of the last drive-ins with Joe Bob Briggs. These were great. I remembered Joe Bob a little bit for Monster Vision. I was pretty young at the time. I had seen some of them here and there. I remember watching Ghoulies 1 and 2. Me and my buddy were going to stay up all night. It was like 5th grade. I think I was 11 years old. We were going to stay up and watch Ghoulies 1 and 2 because I told them how great they were. I only really liked the second and third one. Back then, I was just a big fan of the second one. Regardless, Joe Bob talked so much that me and my friend fell asleep. But I couldn't really appreciate him until I was older, and how intelligent he always had been, and his take on movies and his humor. But I ended up checking these out on Shudder. At least it's a 24-hour movie marathon. You can watch it if you missed the live stream. It was pretty cool. I watched the first 2.5 movies, Tourist Trap, which I hadn't seen in a very long time, and it was really nice to revisit that with a lot of insight from Joe Bob. Man, that guy's an expert. He's a fountain of knowledge. He's very witty. He's very, very, very funny, but everybody probably knows all this. I love when he talks about politics. Just the way he does it, to me, is just funny, and it's not annoying like when a lot of other people do it. And he also did Sleepaway Camp. I got a chance to watch as well on there, and he had a Felissa Rose on there, which was really fun. Sleepaway Camp, man, it's one of those one slashers that when I initially saw it years and years ago, I was like, that's just an average slasher with a great ending. But the more and more I watch it, the more and more I like it. I just think that its perversity is legendary, and it's just a lot dirtier and just grittier than a lot of more movies from that time. You just don't realize it, and how crazy it is for the time, and how crazy it is nowadays, and how it's still relevant just because it's so batshit. And I started watching Rabid too, which is really great. I love Rabid. But the last drive-in on Shudder, if you guys have Shudder, I'd really recommend checking it out. It's well worth it. But let me hop into the reviews. The first one is from the MVD Rewind collection. This is an Australian movie called Windrider. I had never seen this one. This is kind of like an 80s sex comedy in the vein more of a serious one like Risky Business. This really isn't my thing. I do like my sex comedies, Revenge of the Nerds, even if that stuff is completely inappropriate and outdated, I still dig it. This one is a little different. Like I said, it's an Australian movie, and the writer of the movie went on later on to do a lot of great things, a lot of great scripts, the Long Weekend, stuff like that, Road Games. So it's not like Razorback. It's not like he's an incompetent writer and he's bad. He's actually a really good writer. But this one is very strange. On the disc itself, it has a commentary with the writer-director. That was interesting. Enjoyed it more than the movie. And some music videos with Nicole Kidman in there for her character. Nicole Kidman's actually in this is one of her earlier roles. It's kind of a love story, but this is a strange one. It's about this rich playboy kind of who works at his dad's business. He has everything he could possibly want. He he's smart. He's good looking. He has money. He does whatever he wants at his job and still manages to get everything done. He is a thrill seeker, and that's basically it. He's also one of these kind of characters that had everything handed to him. So he all the problems he has, he kind of creates himself, and it's kind of an annoying process. And it's also one of these movies where it's you basically attack a woman or harass a woman until she goes out with you, and then at the end of the movie she goes out with you. So I know it's dated, I know it's 86, but watching it, it's just like, I mean, this character is just, he's not particularly somebody I ever want to watch, period. He's not interesting. It's not like I can't relate to him, but he's also not interesting at all. It's kind of boring for me to watch this character, and a lot of the other characters in the movie don't really do much for me either. And it's also about surfing and wind riding. Not surfing, but it's this special thing like a wind rider that they use. And at the time, it was big and it caught on and everything like that. And there's some cool moves on the on the ocean doing them and everything. There's even a shark scene, of course. And as far as the movie's concerned, it's well acted, it's well shot, and there's nothing wrong with it there. And there's some decent fun gags and some cool stunts and whatnot. The basic plot is just ridiculous. He ends up doing this 360, this move that no one had done actually at the time on the water, which you go up and you do a 360 and you land it. And no one had done it, and he noticed he was all alone, but he looked on a beach and Nicole Kidman was watching him, so he becomes obsessed with her, starts a relationship with her, basically harassing her until she'll go out with him, and she's the only one that's seen him do it. He's in competition for this thing on the side of doing his dad's business and designing stuff, so he's like a super genius, also a playboy. He just has everything going on in his life, but he also is a spoiled kind of brat, and they do address this in the movie. Characters do have talking to him and come down to him, and there's some moments between him and a father which are done well, and there's a couple characters in the movie which I do enjoy, but besides that, it's just the lead character himself, not a bad actor, not a bad performance, is just something that is just one of these toxic characters that I just hate. I've always hated that type of character, and usually they work better as the main character's antagonist than actually being the protagonist. And it's just, for me, it's not something I'm interested in seeing. There is some I guess risque sex scenes in it for the time, so if you have that going for you, it looks pretty good. The Blu-ray looks solid, sounds solid. There's some cool music in it too. I actually dug the music. There's no subtitles, so that's kind of a little distracting for me. I like my subtitles. But if you guys are interested in this stuff, the actor actually went on to do he came from Flesh and Blood before that, the Paul Verhoeven movie. So these people have a following within the movie. It's well acted, well made. I just don't care for the script. I don't care for the story, and that's not necessarily a hit on the movie. It's just personal preference, and that's what I'm coming to with this. If you like light kind of sex comedies that aren't too funny but have a little bit more of a serious approach, then I would check it out. If not, then I would skip it if it doesn't sound like you'd like it. But the people that like this movie will probably enjoy this release. I mean, I think this is the first time this movie's ever been released on Blu-ray, and the people involved with it had a nice careers afterwards.
PC Simpson is running hot.
Whoa!
He's a hard-working...
Stuart, does anything normal ever happen to you?
fast-talking...
I guess that's why I find you so gosh darn compelling.
Touch me and I'll rupture your spleen, Mr. Simpson.
incurable romantic.
Hey! What the hell do you think you're doing? Guys! Shake it down. Let's roll. Run it hard.
Nothing's gonna keep him from the woman he wants.
So, when are we going to get down to a deeply meaningful relationship?
When pigs fly and dogs tap dance.
A casual dalliance?
Even less likely.
I guess a quickie in the back seat's right out of the question.
PC's hot. How hot?
Shit hot.
Until he loses his edge.
Everything's going just great till you come along. All of a sudden, I'm surfing like a bloody clown. You think I'm a loser now, right?
The odds are against him. But PC's hot.
Today we test, tomorrow we win.
Baron Films presents Tom Burlinson in Windrider. With Nicole Kidman, Jill Perryman and Charles Tingwell. Rated M.
Okay, the next one here is another Herschel Gordon-Lewis movie. And you guys know how I feel about Herschel Gordon-Lewis. I'm not the biggest fan. I've talked about it a bunch of times, but I appreciate his work. And this is the Gore Girls, and this stuff will kill you. One of his last gore film. And the other one on here is one of his exploitation films, kind of similar to, Moonshine Mountain, which, I had reviewed previously and don't remember all that much. But the Gore Girls, here we go. Herschel Gordon-Lewis in the commentary on the special features and all that stuff, he basically said, "This was my last hurrah." This is my last Gore film. And the big studios were doing it, and they had all the money in the world. He even said the Wild Bunch. They had everything they could ever want. We had mannequins. So I tried to go out on a high note and do the best Gore I could do, or the biggest Gore and the nastiest Gore. And that's what he went for. This is like his last film for so long until he started coming back with Blood Feast 2 and the Uh-Oh Show years down the line. But the Gore Girls, I'm going to say it now, I kind of like this one, actually. This is my favorite Herschel Gordon Lewis movie that I saw. It follows this detective who's hired to figure out why these murders are happening. He is sarcastic, he is chauvinistic, he is witty, but he is kind of funny in all that. He is paired up with this journalist, female journalist, young journalist, and they go back and forth at each other. She is constantly the blunt of all his jokes, the butt of all his jokes. So that's kind of funny dynamic in here. There's also stars a real comedian at one point, and he has a lot of charisma. He runs the strip joints. This one has a lot of skin. It has tons of skin, a lot of nudity here and there. Lots of ridiculous characters, and of course it has the gore. It pounds it on too. And some of the deaths in here, are pretty nasty, actually. Of course, it's the type of deal where they go into the head and they show the gore and it's done so much better than something like the Gruesome Twosome. Lots of nasty meat here and there. And the lead guy is actually always has a comment to make. He's always outsmarting the cops. He's always leading the cops on a wrong trail. It becomes very funny and very silly. It's like a film noir gore movie, but it's also a comedy in ways. And one of the deaths in here, it's really gross, and I'm surprised they even did it. And it's almost like the gag in it is supposed to be kind of goofy, but it just comes across gross and not really funny. And I can't, like I said, I've never seen anything else like this. Do it. This is definitely the first time I've seen it done. I don't want to spoil it, but in a movie called Shadow Dead Riot. Have you seen that? They used it later on. But yeah, it's got tons and tons of blood and guts. And plenty of story to keep you interested. I actually enjoyed this one. I thought it was fun. I thought it was gross. I thought it was his best made movie. And you see the black gloves. They were talking about this in the special features, that it's his most giallo-like one, that he actually had to up his game. He was kind of forced to, to be a little bit better at what he does, which shows me that, he was capable. He could have been a very capable filmmaker, but he just was doing it on such a tight budget, and he didn't care. He just wanted to get that end product out and on time. And, I enjoyed the commentary as well. Enjoyed the special features. Newer filmmakers talking about Herschel Gordon Lewis. They were talking about regional horror and how they're interested in his work and everything like that.
A maniac is on the loose. A killer whose lust for blood threatens more than the lives of every pretty girl. Never in the history of motion pictures have there been scenes such as these. We caution parents that no one under 17 will be admitted. The Gore Girls. Unquestionably, you'll be talking about it for years. Those who have seen the Gore Girls agree it's the most brutal, the most outrageous, the bloodiest film ever produced. Starring Frank Kress, Amy Farrell, Penny Youngman. Special effects by the same perverted madmen who brought you Blood Feast, 2000 Maniacs, The Gruesome Twosome. Nothing has ever stripped your nerves as screamingly raw as the Gore Girls in startling color. The Gore Girls. The Gore Girls.
And This Stuff Will Kill Ya. I was okay with this one. I thought it was much better than Moonshine Mountain. I thought this is the story about a crooked preacher who's basically making swill. And some FBI guys are trying to get in on it, or trying to make him stop. And that's about it. He's not a real preacher. He has a gang running stuff. And there's also a murderer going around here. So there's all these different storylines. I enjoy the lead performance by the preacher. He's great. He has a lot of charisma. His singing, there's lots of singing numbers in here. The songs are catchy. They reuse some from Moonshine Mountain. And there's some fun gags in the movie, to be honest. It's cheap. It's stupid. It probably is too long. A lot of the scenes go on too long. They hold, not enough coverage, yada, yada, yada. But it's better than Moonshine Mountain. It just gets a pass in my book. It's not great, but I didn't hate it, and I kind of enjoyed digging watching it. Well, I was digging while watching it, digging it. You know, I liked kind of the exploitation stuff. I've always kind of enjoyed it. And the stuff that the preacher says, he's always quoting the Bible. There's lots of cool stuff like that in there. And it just has a lot of zany characters. And keep your eyes open for a Larry Drake. It was the first performance from Larry Drake, which is very funny to me because he plays a you know, backwoods character. He would play something like that in Dark Knight of the Scarecrow as well, but it's such a different role compared to his role in Darkman. And he's just ridiculous. It's so hard to notice that that's Larry Drake in here. But yeah, this'll kill you, and Gore Girls from Arrow Video. So check them out if it sounds like you'd like them.
Preacher man who ever held fire and damnation to congregation.
Corinthians done said, it is better to marry than to be aflame with passion. Now all you boys with passions, get in line there. That's not. Everybody kiss the bride. Now let's all sing. Here comes the bride. Here comes the bride.
Get set for the most colorful, exciting load of entertainment that's ever splashed onto the screen. This stuff will kill you. There's enough excitement to keep your eyeballs rolling. And when Boone gets his eyeballs rolling, look out.
And I laid them say, they swallowed up of wine, and have rotted away with strong drink. And they err in vision, and they stumble in judgment, and the tables are covered with vomit and filthiness, and there's no place clean. Think about it, boys. Think about it.
Give me the police.
Ah, crap.
We have a warrant for that whiskey and we're taking it with us.
Now listen, Mr. Secret Agent. I'm a man of the claw. Now what doctor does that damn thing? And that's why I'm done trying to help you. You know, old Job say, wrath killeth the foolish man. Now you don't look foolish. But we're gonna find out. You know how? How? Well, if you wind up dead tonight, it's a sure sign you've done been foolish. Right, folks?
There's never a let-up, and this stuff will kill you. Action, suspense, and just plain murder. They've never been strung together with such excitement or such good humor.
These are the scenes that I like.
Me also.
He done promised me a mink. What I gotta do to get me?
Why, the same thing a mink got to do to get... Oh, this stuff will kill you. Now you come on and see us here. The motion picture that moves like nothing you've ever seen in your life. This stuff will kill you.
Okay, the next one here is Seeing Evil, and this was sent to me. This is a screener I got sent to me by Chris Leto. He is one of the directors. I believe Jason Henney is the other director of this movie. And this is an independent feature, I think, made in 2017, not yet released widely. Yeah, Seeing Evil. This story basically, let me put this, the simplest way to explain this is Phenomenon with John Travolta meeting It Follows to a way, with also some scientific aspects to it, you know, science gone wrong. whatnot. This movie generally starts off really good, and it has some genuinely creepy moments in the beginning. We have this man, he's a homeless guy. You feel sorry for him right off the bat. He's kind of in this tent in the middle of the forest looking at pictures of, what is his, his old past life, thinking about it and whatnot. He's attacked by a couple thugs and beat up, and all his stuff is ruined. His family, his memories are ruined. They rip apart a picture of his daughter, which seems to be his daughter, and he is wandering in the woods, and he is struck by lightning. After this, something's not quite right. He's wandering around, and he wanders in a music store, and he plays the piano beautifully. And this is when some strange man approaches him and asks him if he wants a job. But that's not all that happens. He starts to realize he's kind of like a genius, like similar to John Travolta in Phenomenon. He can do things that he couldn't do before, but it comes with a price. He starts seeing these strange ghosts or people that are around that appear to be dead. There's bags under their eyes. They're smiling at him, and no one else could see him. That's where the kind of It Follows thing comes in. And a couple times they actually scare you. I would say the first third of this movie is set up well. I think the lead actor is really good, and I think that he has good range and good performance. He is an ex-druggie, so he has a lot of going on. He ends up finding his wife, and they start a relationship, and you start to see things turn. He starts to get some help, but that's not exactly what happens. It has this movie, I'm not going to say anything else about the plot or anything, or anything else besides that, but this movie has an abrupt ending that I did not see coming, and you got to give it kind of points for not doing something that's out of the box, but also at the same time it felt almost a little rushed. It's a very, very strange ending to otherwise kind of you feel like it's a smorgasbord of two movies kind of mixed together, not smorgasbord, but a collision of two movies done fairly well on a budget, and then the ending comes out of there, and you're like, that's just a little bit mean-spirited for this one. But the twist, it makes sense. It's not exactly out of nowhere, but it is abrupt. And I kind of like that in a way, just because I didn't see it coming, and I like seeing that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I think that I wanted to see something else happen in the story, which is good, because it means I cared about the characters to a certain extent. The acting, for the most part, is really good. Like I said, the lead's really good, and the guy who offers them the job is also tremendous. His wife is solid. Like, the acting, for the most part, is pretty good. Some of the bit players are a little dodgy here and there. I like how they set up the scares. They have the jump scares occasionally, but they mostly do these weird kind of scares where there's a person standing there and he approaches them and they create dread. One downside of the movie is the lighting. It's lit well, but it just kind of comes across flat. Only because most of the scenes are shot out in daylight, and it doesn't seem like there was some color correction done exactly. Maybe that's what they were going for. But to me, it looks well lit, but also flat at the same time. There's no color that pop. There's nothing that, it just looks very generic lighting to me. But again, it's broad daylight, and I believe Florida, so it's just, you're going to get what you get, to be honest. In a way, I guess you can maybe do something with the lights, but I'm not too familiar with them. They probably didn't have any lights for a lot of this stuff. This is definitely very, very low budget filmmaking. But an interesting story that unfolds a little bit. It feels very typical for the first 2/3, and then it kind of switches to a little bit and becomes a little bit more harsh than I expected. But it is interesting. I don't absolutely adore the movie, but I think it's a solid effort from the filmmakers, and I think that they actually did quite a bit with a little, and that's pretty cool to see. Okay, the next one here is the VHS Voyage, and this is 1988's Iced. Here's the bootleg. Actually, a decent looking bootleg. Half these I have on bootleg. See, they went the extra effort there. And here's the VHS from Prism Entertainment. Yeah. Have you guys ever seen Iced? This movie is silly. This is nonsense. I had never seen the movie. This is the first time. I had it for years, and I always heard that it was goofy and silly. Iced. Okay, the movie opens up with a group of people on a ski trip. Of course, this is a themed slasher. They're on a ski mountain lodge skiing, and these two guys both like this girl. One is clearly, the girl shows the same affection. The other one, she does not. These two guys, one of the guys, being a complete jerk, challenges the other one to a ski-off. It feels like an 80s sex comedy already, but it's not. It's played fairly straight. So that happens. The guy loses. He gets very upset at himself. He seems to have some mental problems. And that's where the film takes off. He, angered at himself, he ends up skiing down a slope and hurting himself. And he supposedly dies, and that's all there is. Years later, the group of friends, now the girl who was initially involved with the ski-off and the winner of the ski-off are married. They're happy. All these people from the past that were there at the ski lodge get invites to check out this timeshare cabin and, ski and then eventually be made offers. And that's basically the plot of the movie. And, of course, there's someone out there dressed in ski outfit picking the people off with a broken visor like the guy had when he died. Who could it be? Is it that simple? Are they going to go that way? You'll have to watch Iced and find out. This movie, like I said, is silly. It's played straight. There's lots of people that are talking about drama and their lives and their marriages falling apart. The dialogue makes me laugh sometimes. It feels like a Lifetime movie. At times in a car scene, literally, there is audio issues big time where somebody will be talking and it will cut to the next person and they didn't carry over their room tone or something like that, and it's just an abrupt level change, and you'll hear when one person's talking, like the road, the wheels, you'll hear the wheels going, and then the next person it will cut, there'll be nothing, or they'll be moving something and nobody dialogue, and then it'll be completely silent, and then when somebody talks, you'll hear that, and then it will go away. Bad sound in the car, especially. But I don't know what was going on with that, because the movie doesn't seem like it's that incompetent, to be honest, which is strange. Some of the kills are actually done in a creative kind of ski way. Somebody gets stabbed with one of the skis, of course. Somebody uses bear traps outside in the snow, which I actually enjoyed. And there's a couple other deaths in here as well. And remember, the end of this movie had me laughing. The end, right before the credits, I laughed out loud so much that I had to show somebody else. It is ridiculous, and I love it. It's fun. It's dumb. You'll probably never get bored, even if they are talking a lot. They add this really dumb element in, which I don't know why a lot of slashers do this. In horror movies in general, they'll be like, okay, we have this slasher setup in the house. We want it to be different. Or we wrote ourselves in the corner. Or we need another character to die. So what do? They bring in this character for no reason that has some sort of psychic link or these premonitions or some weird sixth sense. And they're like, okay, this is the guy who's trying to sell them the timeshare. He starts to see the future. And he starts to see things that are going to unfold. It doesn't really work. It's in there for I don't know what. But it does somehow incorporate a possible sex scene that is going to supposedly happen in the future. Not arguing that. There is some nudity in here. There is some decent nudity in here. And that's always nice. Especially in a slasher movie. But it's very funny to me that they incorporate this character just to show that nudity probably and get another body in the movie to get killed or possibly killed. But why do they do that? They do this in so many movies. And if you have a slasher movie that's almost hard enough to believe, or a silly movie that's hard enough to believe, and then they add that kind of psychic ability into it, a lot of times you lose me. This one, it was so stupid that it didn't matter anyways. But still I was like, why are they doing this? Yeah, it's fun. It's dumb. It's not perfect. There's a character in here who's doing a lot of drugs, and right when I saw the character, I said, that guy is a cokehead, and he ended up being a cokehead in the movie, so that was brilliant. He was so good at it. I think he was maybe snorting a line between takes. He's an intense character. There is skiing in here, so if you like skiing, if you like slashers, I would recommend it. I love the actual location of the movie, to be honest. It's a cool cabin. It's actually out in the snow. The isolation. It's a good idea, to be honest. And the script on a whole, with the unfolding is it's just silly, but you'll enjoy yourself, especially if you like these kind of things. I think it's pretty fun.
Jeff!
You fuckers!
What are you doing here?
You came up here with me.
I came here by myself. Why didn't you leave us alone?
Not till I'm finished with you.
Oh, come on, you heard her, pal. Come on, just leave.
This is all your fault, you son of a bitch.
Listen, the lady doesn't want to discuss this any further right now.
Jeff, we're friends. That's all. Sorry.
Some friend.
Oh, come on, shitwagon. Why don't you just take a hint, huh? Oh! Oh, you're starting to make a real asshole out of yourself, pal.
Oh, man.
Okay, the pick a movie was from who was it? Jonathan. I can't remember the last name, but it was like a horror name. He picked Hell of the Living Dead by Bruno Mattei. Like, I haven't been watching enough Bruno Mattei movies lately. This is the Blue Underground release that comes with Rats, Nights of Terror, also by Bruno Mattei. Yeah. If you guys didn't know, I adore this movie. I've seen this movie very young. It was one of the ones I rented from the video store under the original VHS title, Night of the Zombies. This movie has 100 different titles, by the way. Hell of the Living Dead, Night of the Zombies, Virus. Those are zombie creeping flesh. Those are four titles off the top of my head, and I'm sure there's a dozen other ones. But Hell of the Living Dead, it's also been released by 88 Films on Blu-ray. If you guys haven't seen this one, this is a major ripoff of, the score is taken from Contamination and Dawn of the Dead, the Goblin score, but it's a major ripoff of Dawn of the Dead, down to the SWAT guy outfits. But it also has the cannibal element where the people are going to go in this strange area in the jungle, and it has a bunch of things like, it feels like Zombie, Dawn of the Dead. It's just a big ripoff, but it has so many fun things going for it. The opening of the movie, it opens up with this plant meltdown, and this guy literally watches a rat attack his friend, and he does nothing about it. That has got to be one of the funniest scenes on celluloid of all time. They're checking out the reactor, and he's going around, and they pick up this dead rat. They're like, this is supposed to be the most clean area in the whole town. And their dialogue is priceless. They're talking about stuff that doesn't really exist. They're like, this is the reactor button switch module. It's just bullshit, and it's great. The people's reactions are great. The dubbing is terrible for the most part, especially in the scenes where they incorporate, it's got to be like just documentary footage of other countries talking about things. But that stuff is great. The bodies must be cremated. It's like, that's not that guy's voice. It's just really poor choices on that element. It's very gory. Very, very gory. They have a lot of people being bit. They have a lot of people... It just gross things, too. In fact, the SWAT guys, I adore all four of them. They're awesome. They're especially the guy who's the character in here, Zentino is Arturo. He is insane. He has crazy eyes. He has big crazy eyes. He ends up popping up in the other hell too, I believe. And he is always obsessed with shooting the zombies in the head. He takes tons of chances. He is just intense. He kills a bunch of zombies. He's a lot of fun. Of course, the Dawn of the Dead score is always going to sound good no matter where it comes from. The Goblin is tremendous. The score works perfectly with this movie. It works perfectly probably with any horror movie. But I love the jungle locations, even if they incorporate and splice in nature documentary footage that doesn't match with the rest of the quality of the movie. And they even put in some nudity in here. They shoehorn that in big time. I can't believe they ended up getting that in there. And they even throw in some, real nasty footage of people that are actually sick from, documentaries and whatnot to incorporate the zombie stuff. This movie's supposed to have like a nature, take care of nature, pollution message, but I don't know if it's coming through very well because the movie's so silly. But I love jungle adventure movies. I love zombie movies. I love Italian movies. So it has so many things going for you. And it actually does have a couple genuinely creepy moments. When the little boy turns, obviously a ripoff of Roger from Dawn of the Dead. But it's enjoyable. And all sorts of that kind of stuff going on. The priest zombie in here is great. And it's a precursor to the infected from 28 Days Later when he walks in on the priest and he chases him. That's a precursor here. I wonder if Danny Boyle saw Hell of the Living Dead growing up. Maybe he rented himself a video nasty before it got banned. But yeah, Hell of the Living Dead is a tremendously fun cheese fest. Lots of gore, some nudity, great score, lots of action, never boring, an adventure zombie movie. Adventure zombie jungle movie. If you love zombie, then you'll like Hell of the Living Dead. If you can, let your guard down. I mean, it doesn't have those great, tremendous moments like zombie does, but it tries. It's never boring. And that's one of the things that a horror movie like this should never do is bore you, because it's perfect. And I love the ending. It's perfect for what it is. I'll say that. It's perfect. And I'm glad I got to talk about it. I have no problem rewatching stuff like this. I would have watched it again anyways. But I love all the Italian zombie movies pretty much, from Burial Ground to Hell of Living Dead, from Zombie 3, Zombie 4, I'm missing one, Nightmare City, even though they are infected, but Zombie Holocaust. I dig them all, and this one's right at the top of that heap, to be honest. On here, there were some pretty interesting features, to be honest. There was a short interview with Bruno Mattei, and there was a really, really big one that was like a 50 minutes that had interviews with the co-writer, co-director Claudio Fragresso, who did tons of stuff, Zombie 4, Monster Dog, Troll 2, and some of the stars, including Franco Ginofolo. I'm looking right at the back here because I can't remember how to say his name, and some of the other actresses, and even the stunt guy who plays the lead zombie, and not the poster zombie in Zombie, and that comes from that big family of stuntmen. But that 50-minute documentary was really, really interesting and great, and Claudio Fragresso started talking about his relationship with Bruno, and at this time that was shot, Bruno was dead, and he talks about it, and the end of that 50-minute little interview segment with all those people, it gets emotional. It's really a brilliant moment for. I mean, not brilliant. I shouldn't say that, but it's just it's special to see. In that moment, you see the relationship, everything with Fragresso and Bruno Mattei, and how close they were, how long they made movies together, and you could see like, how much Claudio Fragresso loved Bruno Mattei, and how much their work together meant to him, and it's just it's good to see. It's heartwarming and sad all at the same time. But Hell of the Living Dead, it's great. They talk about Rats, Nights of Terror on there too. I don't like that one as much. It's post-apocalyptic, Night of the Living Dead, Mad Max style mixture. It's fun, but it's just not as good as Hell of the Living Dead to me. I like my zombies. So, yeah, we have a ripoff of Dawn of the Dead and a ripoff of Night of the Living Dead on the same disc by the ripoff Meister, the ripoff master, Bruno Mattei. But Hell of the Living Dead, you got to see it. If you like this kind of stuff, if you like Italian movies, it's a lot of fun. You like zombie movies, if you like batshit crazy movies, it's a must.
The whole village is contaminated. There have been many deaths. Now they're celebrating the funerals.
Bodies have to be cremated.
Wish to God I knew what's happening here.
I insist that the most serious situation we have to deal with is cremating the bodies. Cut it out! Stop wasting your damn bullets, you jerks! You need to hit their heads! I told you! See? Like this! Get away! Beat it! Clear out! Goddamn rotten ghouls! Look out! What's wrong, huh? You're disappointed? Sorry, boys, I'm not on the menu after all. Don't let it worry you. I think you will all meet again. In hell! Huh? Hurry up, get going. Here they come. What's wrong with Who's over there?
What happened?
I heard some funny noises in the back there.
Hurry. Riga, check the coordinates.
Bastard! No!
That's
experimental project Operation Sweet Death must be considered a complete failure.
All these high-powered installations, like a factory from a future world, safely hidden.
You're all doomed to a horrible death. Doomed to be eaten up. First they'll kill you.
Get back! You won't get me! No! No! No!
Okay, time to do the pick a movie drawing. If you want to ever be entered, just leave a message on YouTube saying you want to be entered. You'll stay in until you're drawn and you get to pick your movie, then you'll have to re-enter. You can leave a message on Screaming Toilet as well. You can send me a private message on Facebook or send private message to the Screaming Toilet page. It doesn't matter what you do. I can't remember who won, who I did. Oh, who won last time? Who's coming up? I'm not sure. But here we go. Oh, James Grimmer. I know he's won a few times, but there's a lot of names in this hat, so at least 20. James Grimmer, let me know. I know you'll pick something good. You usually do. And that is a great stepping stone to the What We Watched. I meant What We Watched, Jesus. I'm getting crazy here. That's I was listening to 22 Shots Moods and Podcast for a run this morning, and that got stuck in my head. That's a great thing into the Q&A. And the first question's by James Grimmer, who just won that. So that's what I was trying to get at. Really bad segue. I had a stroke in the middle of that one. What are your thoughts on having a protagonist character portrayed by different actors in a movie sequels? Ugh, that's not too good. Sometimes you can get away with it. Other times you can't. One time you couldn't get away with it, and I didn't mind as much as a kid. I kind of minded, but as an adult I couldn't even finish the movie, and I used to like it as a kid. Darkman 1. Love that movie. Love Liam Neeson in that movie too. You gotta be fucking kidding me when he's going down. He's just great in that movie. Peyton Westlake. And then you come in on the sequel. You get Larry Drake back. You don't get Liam Neeson. And you use Arnold Vasolo. I don't hate Arnold Vasolo. You know, Hard Target, The Mummy. But he is not Liam Neeson. And he is not caliber of Liam Neeson acting. And he's terrible in that movie. Darkman 2. And probably Darkman 3 too. I haven't seen that one in years. But I do not like Darkman 2 anymore. It has some fun moments. I like Larry Drake. But I could not get past watching Arnold Vasolo's acting. I'm serious. I just couldn't do it. I bought the Blu-ray and I was in there. So I don't really care for it. If you have to do it, you have to do it. And occasionally I don't mind. I actually thought it was an improvement in the Hatchet movies. Hatchet 2 and 3. But I guess it wasn't that big of an improvement. You know, some of the Hatchet movies, I think that I don't even know why I'm getting on a tangent. This is unrelated. But some of those Hatchet movies, like, I love the actors involved a lot of times, but I think they're overacting, and I think, like, somebody needed to pull them back. Because, like, good actors, a lot of them will go too much, and the director's job is pull back a little bit. But they're not pulling back. They're just letting them go over the top. But I'm sorry. I'm getting on a tangent here. I don't like it, usually. Most of the time, I hate it. Nick Mua, if monsters were real and approachable, which one would you sit down with? So they are real and approachable. Which one would I want to talk to? I don't know. You'd want to talk to one that knew everything, so you could ask him questions about things. I mean, like, basically I'm going to take your approachable word as not going to get killed or tortured or no negative things are going to happen to you. That's what I'm taking approachable at. I mean, you could go one way and talk to the Frankenstein monster and tell him you feel bad for him, but I don't know how he'd take that. The creature, I mean, these monsters are so haunted. It's just like, do you have like a couple hours to be mighty depressed? Which monster would I want to talk to? Movie monsters. Maybe Pinhead to see how you can avoid going to hell. That might be nice. Yeah. Might go with Pinhead to avoid going to hell. But I love the creature, but there's not much they could tell you. A lot of these guys don't even speak well, and they probably wouldn't even speak. What's your favorite holiday, and would you want to make or just see a slasher film taking place on that holiday? I mean, there's been holidays. I like Halloween, of course. Doesn't everybody like Halloween? If you don't like Halloween, you're a cop or something. You have to deal with a bunch of punk kids all day or something. I don't know. Or you just hate passing out candy. I don't know. Love Christmas. Love Thanksgiving. I like Thanksgiving because I get to eat. So, Halloween. You can never have too many Halloween horror movies, so I'd love to see that. Thanksgiving, of course, we need more Thanksgiving horror. We have Home Sweet Home and Thanksgiving. We need a good Thanksgiving horror movie, and I love the fake trailer on the Grindhouse ones. I love Don't and Thanksgiving as well. Thanksgiving, I actually think, was the best one. So I'd love to see Thanksgiving, actually, as a horror movie, as an actual feature length. So let's go Thanksgiving. I'd like to see some more Thanksgiving horror. I'll do that. But I think that's all I have for you as far as the questions are concerned. Let's jump into the update. Okay, guys, right into the update here. Let's start with something special. We got the Combat Shock Blu-ray from Severin. This is limited. Buddy G directed this movie, made in '84, I believe. I love this movie. I have a feeling that it will be getting a review soon. Well, I'll show it off a little bit more, but love this one. Also came with the American Nightmare scrapbook with a piece of the film in there. Really cool, man. I love this movie. It's a very special movie. It's a freaking nightmare. And I even got the shirt bundle. The shirt is super graphic, so be warned. Hope you guys can see it. It's hopefully that covers it. You can see it on the site. But yeah, I love that movie. Let's hop into the rest of the Blu-rays. Import here. Escape from Osoba. I never called it that. This movie to me is always No Escape. HBO classic. Ray Liotta, Lance Hendrickson, Ernie Hudson, Kevin Dillon. I really like this movie. I loved this movie as a kid growing up. Just a cool movie. A bunch of prisoners are sent to an isolated island. I love it. Good stuff. Then we have some imports here. That was an Umbrella import. I believe it's region locked. Let me double check for you guys. Yeah, region B. And then we have Lawman with Burt Lancaster, Robert Ryan. This is a Michael Winter movie. It's a Western. This is a German import. Not seen it. Like the cast, like the director. Then we have Perdita Durango, which is by Alex de Iglesia. This movie's great. I've only saw it under the Dance with the Devil title. I don't know if this is any more uncut than the Spanish Blu-ray I have, but it looks way better. Javier Bardem, breakthrough role. This movie's tremendous. Then we have New Jack City. Got it cheap. Haven't seen this movie in years. You know, I remember kind of liking it. It's a Mario Van Peebles movie. You know, he directed Posse as well. He's also in it. It's got a nice cast. Ice-T, Judd Nelson, Mario Van Peebles, Bill Nunn, Wesley Snipes, of course. It's been a long time. Love Me Deadly from Code Red. Yep. Had to grab this bad boy. Not seen it. Had the DVD. So I upgraded the Blu-ray, of course. Then we have the Vestron Collector's Edition of Dagon, Stuart Gordon movie. You know, I've had the DVD for years and I never watched this one. This is probably one of the only few Stuart Gordons I haven't really checked out, but I'm excited to check it out. Dagon. Then we have Beyond the Re-Animator with Jeffrey Combs. This is the third one in the series. Brian Yunza directed this, I believe. You know, I never saw this one either, so that's also a Vestron release. Then we have some Scream Factory, In the Mouth of Madness, John Carpenter classic. I love this movie. It's the last one in the trilogy, the post-apocalyptic trilogy, along with The Thing and Prince of Darkness. All three are tremendous. This has Sam Neill in it and Charlton Heston, among others. Tons of people are in that one. Big fan of that movie. Memoirs of an Invisible Man with Chevy Chase by John Carpenter as well, Scream Factory. Or is it Shout? I've actually never seen this. Or I might have seen this one when it came out, but I don't remember it very well. It's one of those ones where I might have some vague memories when I start watching it. Also Sam Neill. Then we have the massacre video of Enter the Devil. This made the Section 3 Video Nasties list, I think. I don't know much about this movie, but it's Massacre, so it's well worth my time. Love Massacre Video. Then we have 5 Years, 5 Films. This is the Vinegar Syndrome. This is the erotica one with Dracula Sucks, Baby Rosemary, a bunch of other stuff on here. Vixen of Kung Fu. What else is on this disc? Corporate Assets and Tropic of Desire. I like these because I don't really buy all their DVDs. a lot of releases, but I get all their Blu-rays. So when these come on Blu-ray, I'm hyped because I love Blu-rays of their releases. They all look good, but I just kind of try to limit myself here. The 5 years horror and exploitation. The volume 4 has Cry Wilderness, Vampire Hookers, Evil Come, Evil Go, Cutthroats, and Teenage Seductress. So yeah, I really like this. There's 4 volumes. The other volumes I have as well, and I haven't had a chance to watch them. But man, I wish one day I just could sit down and watch movies for like a week and not do anything else, like no work. Liquid Assets, again from Vinegar Syndrome. This is you know, skin flick, porno, I believe. Not seen it. Then we have Buddies, which is HIV drama. You know what? Vinegar Syndrome is one of the best companies out there. Release interesting art films, shellac, porn, anything, man. Just some crazy titles, and they polish everything so well. I love them. House of the Dead here. I have a feeling this is going to be an update review soon, too. I mean, a.k.a. Alien Zone. Horror Anthology. Nice little hard case on there. That's everything. I hope you guys like the update. Back to the video. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed the update and the video. And as always, you guys have a good one.